Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Alex Morris, and let's queer up the USA view. Harvey Milk deserves honor, not erasure, says out Representative Sorensen. In a powerful moment on Capitol Hill, U.S. Representative Eric Sorensen delivered an impassioned defense of Harvey Milk during a House Armed Services Committee hearing this week. Sorensen is the first out LGBTQ congressman from Illinois. His remarks come amid reports of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth planning to strip Milk's name from a Navy ship. The USNS Harvey Milk, launched in 2021, honors the late gay rights pioneer and Navy veteran who served during the Korean War. Milk was forced out of the Navy in the 1950s with an other than honorable discharge due to his homosexuality. He later became California's first out gay elected official and was assassinated in 1978. Sorensen addressed Navy Secretary John Phelan directly.
I wanted to take a moment to talk about a veteran who served on a submarine as a diving officer during the Korean War. From 1951 to 1955, this courageous American served our country in the Navy, just like my grandpa did. But unlike my grandpa, this veteran was forced to resign from the Navy, receiving an other than honorable, rather than be court-martialed because of his homosexuality. Harvey Milk, like every veteran who served our nation, deserves our thanks. To Secretary Phelan, can you specifically explain to me and this committee why this administration no longer believes in honoring Mr. Harvey Milk's service to his nation?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. Look, Secretary Hegseth is committed to ensuring that the names attached to all DoD installations and assets are reflective of the Commander-in-Chief's priorities, our nation's histories, and the warrior ethos.
Does he not prioritize all veterans, sir?
Potential renaming decisions will be announced once an internal review is completed. So nothing's been decided. He's asked for that review, and then we will.
Would you be able to express to him that it is important that we honor all veterans of their service?
I believe he does honor all veterans.
Thank you. As the only elected LGBTQ person on this committee, and the first ever from my home state, I speak for my neighbors and all Americans when I say that Navy veteran Harvey Milk was a warrior in Korea. Before becoming an elected leader, his service and his life ended with an assassin's bullet. I walk in the footsteps of leaders before me. He stood up for the same people who are being targeted, persecuted, and vilified by this administration today. My grandpa taught me to stand up for every veteran and thank them every time I see them, thank them for their service. But picking and choosing who deserves that thanks, it's not just wrong, it is un-American. Thank you to our witnesses for being here today. I appreciate your service to our nation, and I yield back.
You will note that Phelan indicated no decision has been finalized and that Hegseth wants military names to reflect Trump's priorities, U.S. history, and the warrior ethos. Sorensen also signed a letter co-led by Representatives Jill Chucata and Nancy Pelosi, joined by nearly 70 other Democrats, which urge Hegseth to rescind the decision. The letter condemns the move as an insult to the LGBTQ service members, especially during Pride Month. And, I do think that this is clearly politically motivated. It is designed to be homophobic. But, I was researching Harvey Milk a little bit before this because of, as someone who's been a fan of his and his politics, so much so that on Twitter, what's the AI that they call it? Grok thinks I most like Harvey Milk in my Twitter feeds. And he was an anti-war activist, a Vietnam War protester, and he's not here for me to ask, but I don't know if he would want a military ship named after him. Apparently this entire line of ships, this type of ship, is supposed to all be named after civil rights leaders, which in some ways is beautiful. I'm not sure if they...
Actually, I can fill in for that because actually the class of ships that's Harvey Milk is named, one of them is USNS Harvey Milk, is actually called the John Lewis class. So all of them are named after civil rights icons. The fact that Hegseth and the administration whose name I shall not name, were refused, like actively trying to dismantle all of it. And never mind just Harvey Milk, the administration already expressed the desire to also rename anything that's named after civil rights heroes, such as Harriet Tubman.
Oh my God.
So this is an attack on every single minority.
I get that. And I think Harriet Tubman, because she actually was also a scout and worked in the military, probably wouldn't mind because the military wasn't then. But like, I don't know if Malcolm X or Martin Luther King would want military vessels named after them. I don't know with Harvey Milk, honestly. Like, I try to find for sure, but he seems
oilers, so they just provide.
They're military ships. They're designed to support the U.S. empire and all that. So that's my one concern with this whole discussion. But a fun fact that I think Harvey Milk has for today's politics is he and Mayor Moscone, who also sadly was assassinated that day, they both came in on a wave of younger Democrats pushing out all the old Democrats. I'm like, wonder if anything like that might be happening in this country.
Well, I think what I think is sad is with everything that's going on. I mean, this is what this administration is worried about. They're worried about names and how somehow these names are going to hurt them. You know, they're looking at renaming forts and bringing back the Confederate names because that was our history. But I'm like, you're erasing our history and trying to rewrite history as a draft dodger. So let's, what good is this doing?
Pettiness is the whole point. Pettiness
100%.
Pettiness is the entire point of this move.
Yes.
This is nothing to do. I mean, if you didn't tell me that there's a USNS Harvey Milk, I wouldn't remember it. I remember it being commissioned because like 5 years ago.
But could I be petty for a moment?
Yes, of course.
You mentioned Trump wants to name them after Confederates, and I've heard that. Yeah,
Confederate names.
I think that makes sense for Trump because he does love losers.
Well,
Look, I have shirts that lasted longer than Confederacy.
facts.
I have shoes that lasted longer than the Confederacy.
You've lasted longer than Confederacy.
Whoa!
That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.